Hello everyone and welcome to Miss Strategies Middlegame show. Today we will be practicing. We have a thematic tournament coming up. That's Sopiko, that's me, Miss Strategy and Miss Tactics. She will have her show on Thursday. I just had to change it for this week, but normally it will always be Thursday, the Miss Strategy Miss Tactics day here on Chess 24. So, as I mentioned, there's a thematic tournament coming up. And it is about the topic that we covered in the previous sessions, the good knight. So one of you will be playing with the white pieces and have a really great outpost for a knight or for the knight. And well, with the black pieces you will need to defend, but all of you will have the same position, sometimes with white, sometimes with black, and it's an unrated tournament, so this is just for the sake of practice. Nobody will lose rating. We are here to learn. So as a group, we will practice one of the positions that we studied together. Now, how can you join the tournament? I shall show you. So let's try to bring up what you guys see right now. If you are on Chess 24, I think this is what you see. You must be here. No, this way. That's the show. I'm not watching myself, but this is where I'm supposed to be. This is the chat. Here you see the other shows coming up. You see, for instance, that tomorrow Mr. Luc van Wely will have a banter blitz, and as I said, Miss Tactics will be here on Thursday, and so many other things coming up here on Chess 24. But what you want to do now is to go to play. Let's go to play, and then you choose tournaments. So at play, tournaments, you scroll down until you see Miss Strategies Good Night Thematic Tournament. That is the big deal. That is where we will learn a lot. I will be commentating on your games live, so please make sure that you join. You only have 7.5 minutes left until the beginning. You need to join before that. So please go to play tournaments right now. I see that we already have 48 players. That's huge. That's amazing, guys. I'm so happy that this tournament is being so popular, and also the shows. I receive many messages from you guys, comments on the videos, comments, messages here on Chess 24. I really appreciate all those messages. It's a pity that I cannot respond personally to each and every message. Unfortunately, I would need an assistant who helps me out with all the messages that I need to deal with. But I always read those messages, so even if I cannot respond personally, I want to thank all of you who sent me greetings, feedback on the shows, just even the criticism, of course, because I want to improve these shows as much as possible. So if you have something in mind that I could do better, of course you can also let me know. I don't think that I'm perfect, so I also, of course, accept constructive criticism. But this is not about giving feedback to me now. Live, we want to play, we want to practice, and I will be giving you advice about your chess. So Miss Strategies Good Night Thematic Tournament starting in 6 minutes. And I think I will show you already the position. You might have seen already, actually, the position I chose. But let me show you here as well, in case you did not see it. It's going to be a position from Kasparov's game against Piquet. And you remember that the end of this game was quite crazy because the Grandmaster playing with the black pieces just missed. Oh, sorry, I'm clicking. So he played Rook F4 in this position, missing the knight fork. And that's how the game ended. I'm not asking you to remember how the game went, because this was just too much to blunder a queen in one. But Kasparov played this game in a very instructive way with the white pieces, and the starting position will be, I believe, somewhere around, let me try to find a moment when you will actually start playing. It's this one. This is the position that you will start your games. So some of you will start as white, you have a superior position, there's a great outpost. Well, you know where it is. I don't need to highlight it, right? So you know that there's an outpost, you know that you want to use it for your knight. But that doesn't mean that the position wins immediately. So Yes, this is a great position for white, but it's not winning on the spot. So if you are playing this with the black pieces, please try to put up a fight and defend. Try to create counterplay. I'm not expecting anybody to resign in this position. Actually, I would be really sad if you don't fight with the black pieces. So remember the sessions that we had about playing bad positions, about fighting even when you have a lost position. Now this is your chance to practice that. Try to trick your opponent. Try to create counterplay. Don't give up. This position is playable for black. It's a bad position, but it's not completely lost. So make sure that if you are black, you also really do your best. Try to make the best moves in this position. Always the best moves. And as white, as I said, you have a great outpost. You will place your knight, you know where. But then you need to find a plan. You need to improve your position further, and you will need to build up an attack. So you will need to constantly seize the advantage, and just because you will have an outpost for your knight, it doesn't mean that you are winning on the spot. You need to play this position very well with the white pieces. So this is what we're gonna do. I will go back now to the page where you see, oh, no, not this page, I'm sorry, I mean this page, the tournament here. I never know in which direction I should point. I think it's this direction. The round starts in 3 minutes. So you guys have only 3 minutes left to join the tournament. We are 61 players already. That's great. I see Non-Boy, American, Blitz, Enemy, Trover, Kramnik student. I can't even read this out so quick. Shadowmate, Don Carleone, Alex Revoledo, or Wesley, Devil 70, Alex Steven, and so on and so on. I'm sorry if I can't read out all the names, but we are starting in 2.5 minutes. I will just scroll down, and you guys make sure that your name is on the list, because we are beginning in 2.5 minutes. 62 players. 61. Somebody has left, but I hope that we will reach 64. I would like to have 64 players, so if you are not signed up yet, please sign up. It will be great to have a tournament where there are 64 players. 62, please. Two more. 63. One more, just one more. Somebody, please sign up. 64 players. 64? Anyone? Anyone who is not signed up yet and is listening to me right now, please sign up. This is your chance. This is the first time that this tournament is available to everybody. So it's not only a premium tournament today. Normally it's always for premium members, but today we made an exception. 65 players. Oh, that's also cool. I wanted 64 because, you know, that's the chess number. But now let's do 70. What about 70? Are we 70 here? 70? Starting in 1.5 minutes. 70 players. Can anybody join? 3 more players. 70. 70. So those of you who ask in the chat, where can you join? Go to play tournaments. I will copy this in the chat and go there. 69, just one more. Go to that link, play tournaments, and find Miss Strategy's Good Nights thematic tournament starting in 1 minute. Just a minute. 70, 71, 72. You guys are brilliant. What will be the final number? What do you think? Will it be 72? Will it be 75? Or maybe even 80? But I don't think we have enough time for 80. Anyway, 72 is great. This is the biggest tournament I have ever commentated on in my thematic tournaments. 72 players. Here, 73, 74. Just to practice what we have learned. I think that's great. And I always say that whatever you learn, you should put it into practice. So that's why we organize these tournaments. You should practice whatever you learn. And this is a great occasion for that. 74 at the moment. I see you guys in the chat trying to guess the final number. Sanyal is saying 76. Filipino Master is saying 74. Miktal is just simply laughing. What do you guys think? 75! We're starting in 12 seconds. Kramnik student says 74. Alright. So in 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's begin. Good luck, everybody. Waiting for pairings. So, I'm excited. 73 players in the end, I think. Let's see if we have the pairings for the first round already. I'm super excited about this. 73 players. and we will practice my favorite topic, one of my favorite topics. You know that I love to have a knight outpost, especially on d5. The d5 square is my favorite. We also learned about the f5 square. A knight on f5 is great. Or if you play with the black pieces, d4 and f4, those are the great squares. d6 as well. I think we will show some games like that. Let's see, is it beginning? Waiting for pairings. Please say that it is beginning. Is it live? Yes, live. Okay, so I'll try to follow as many games as possible. Having so many people joining the tournament, I think it's just physically impossible for me to follow everybody, but I will click randomly all the time so that I give you more chance that it's going to be your game. I hope that you see what I see. That's the board, the starting position between Mladen, Dvornic and Killer. Of course, this is a starting position for everybody. This is what I decided upon. Let's see the first moves. Is this game beginning? If not, I will click on another one. Let's see another one. Okay, this has started. This is Jacko Karsing versus Harapiu. So, Jacko from the Netherlands, a very kind fan, a fan of Sopico and myself. We met him in Vaikanze. And Harapiu from Spain, the country where I live. Knight d5, knight cd5 was played by Jacko. That's a great move. Of course, this is the outpost that we were heading to. And thanks to this guy, the other knight on e3, we are ready to capture back. I can't highlight. I'm trying to highlight, but I can't. In case of bishop takes, you will take back with the knight, always with a piece. If there's an outpost, if there's a hole in the opponent's pawn structure, keep it for you as an outpost. That means never take back with the pawn unless you are winning something with it. Unless it's a great move because it wins a piece, it opens something very important for you. If not, keep this. So you want to take back with a piece, with a knight, a bishop, a rook, a queen, anything but not a pawn. I see that Harapi was really taking his time after knight cd5. What happened? Oh no, disconnection by Jacko. I'm so sorry, Jacko. I hope that in the next game you will have no connection problems. Oh, I see that some of you are. What happened? Guys, what happened? Okay, let's see this game. I'm confused. Was it disconnection in every game? Player failed to reconnect. Whoa, 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 what's going on? Okay, another game. Is that possible? Guys, what happened? Don't tell me that there's something wrong for every player. Player failed to start on time. Kramnik student lost on time. I see in the chat. Okay, I mean, this is not possible, right? You could not. Okay, this seems like a game. Art Harsh versus Devil 70. Player failed to reconnect. I mean, is it some kind of an April 1st joke that everybody disconnects? You're not doing it on purpose, right? This is not a joke. I'd like to see a game, an actual game. Somebody? Miktal, let's see. Miktal with the white pieces. His opponent didn't play. We are 73 people. What's going on? Round 2 starts in 5 minutes. Guys, I'm completely confused. Has anybody played a normal game or everybody lost or won because of disconnection? Let's see Nacho 5 versus Vasmat 11. Player failed to start on time. Oh, Miktal is saying that I should have said that it is black to move. Sorry about that. Yes, of course normally it is white to move, but in this position, the starting position is black to move. Now I feel like it's my fault that all of you guys lost the first game with the black pieces. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Luckily it's unrated, so I take all the blame. This round doesn't count. I'm so sorry that we could not practice in the first round. I should have emphasized that it is black to move. So the starting position is this. It is black to move. It's really important that you who are paired to play with the black pieces should make the first move. Oh, board one is normal game. Macaulay is saying, thank you so much, Macaulay. You should have played too. I was hoping for Macaulay to participate. He's back in the office of Chess24 in Hamburg, so we are all very happy, of course, that he came back from his parental leave. Oh, this is actually a really great game. So this is the game between Ali Adli and Noiboy, where black started with rook f7, knight cd5, and oh, castle, everything perfect. So the knight was placed on the outpost. This is what we learned. He castled queenside, just like in the game. Ooh, brave move, rook f1, but it doesn't work because two rooks can take it. So this was a rook down for black. I'm not recommending rook f1. In this position, try to find a better move than rook f1. I know that it feels like you should do something very active as black, but not as active as rook f1. So what I would recommend is that you try to attack on the queen side. The king is on c1, and you can push a6, b5 as black. That could be a feasible plan, trying to open the a file, the b file, and try to attack the king on c1. So that could be a potential counterplay without sacrificing your rook. What about the second round? Is it beginning? Let's see. Second round in 3 minutes. So thanks to me, nobody played a proper game in the first round, or almost nobody. And we have 3 minutes to discuss our lives here on Chess24 before the games begin. So, Miktal is saying that yes, it worked. And Kramnik student had a Petrosian idea. That's great to hear. Mikael Carson saying, how did he leave the tournament? He's not paired anymore. Try to join again. Oh no, it's not possible to join anymore. I see that we are 73 players. I don't know if Mikael, you are among them. I see you on the list. Yeah, I see that you scored. You won in the first round. Are you sure you're not in the tournament anymore? Let's see. Kramnik student is saying that a potential plan could also be to run with the black king from the king side to the queen side. That's interesting. But I don't think that the main problem of black is his king on h8. It's not so easy to attack that black king at the moment. So unless white manages to open, for instance, the long diagonal, the a1, aj diagonal, you don't need to worry that much about the king. What you need to worry about is that you lack space. So you would need to, that's why I'm saying a6, b5, for instance. You should try to grab more space, and thanks to more space and more open files, you will have more active pieces. Your pieces are passive as black because you are lacking space. The knight on h7 is a very clumsy piece. It has nowhere to go. So that's one of the problems. The e7 bishop is a bad bishop. Look at the pawn structure. All the pawns here in the center are on dark squares. So that means that your bishop on e7 is a very bad piece as well. These are the reasons, the lack of space and having bad minor pieces. These are the main reasons for black's position to be bad, and the backward d6 pawn and the d5 outpost for the white knight in this case, but it could be any piece. It's just a great outpost on d5. The best to use it is with a knight, placing your knight on d5, but it could be any piece but not a pawn. Never take back with a pawn. a6, b5, as I suggested, is a feasible plan. You have the f5, so that's something for the rooks at least. The rooks are fine, the black rooks. Anyway, let's see if we are starting the second round. And remember, it is black to move. So, my bad, I didn't say it. Everybody lost his, her, their first round game. My fault. But now, in round 2, I'm expecting everybody with the black pieces to realize that it's his turn. He has to make the first move. So, starting in 13 seconds, I'll have a sip from my precious Chess24 mug and wait for you guys to begin round 2 with the black pieces. Alright, so ready for round 2, and let's see. The pairings are being made. Is it that there's still a game going on? I see. Wait a second. Okay, now I opened several windows. Oh, there's still a game going on. I'm so sorry, I didn't realize it. Thank you, Macaulay. I didn't realize. I thought that I made everybody lose their first game. So this game is still going on, and it's a piece up for black, but it's not so easy since white has this f6 and g5 connected postpones for the piece, and now he can start going forward. King e4, king f5, and push g6. Oh, the countdown. The countdown is just the guideline. I've just been told by Macaulay. Thanks for helping me out. It's been a while since I had a thematic tournament, so I'm messing everything up. Ah, checkmate! Yes, king e4, king f5 was the right plan, but not in the moment when the opponent can play knight g3, and that's a beautiful mate. What a finish for a crazy round one that I have spoiled because of not saying that it was black to move in the starting position. So Sanyal 26 wins this game versus Well Capinos from Spain. Yes, after knight g3, well, here instead of king f5, you should go to d5, king d5, but even there after bishop c7, black is threatening knight c3 mate. So it's crazy how in this position, with just a few pieces on the board, white can be mated. What about the next round? Is it starting now? Let me see. Waiting for pairings. Now, please, guys, with the black pieces, you start the game. I will not take the blame this time. That's all on me from the first round. Now it's up to you guys to play a proper game and don't blunder your rooks, please. So, let's see the pairings. Alright. Thomas S versus Jacko Karsing, and Jacko should make his first move. I will see who starts first, so I can see the games here. Hopefully. Okay. Amir Kian versus Normadel Bell. Rook f4, an ambitious move, and now we are waiting for white to make his response. Castle queenside is a great move. Knight d5 is another great move. Knight c d5, I would say you don't want to allow rook g4. So, I see you guys are still talking about the mate that we have just seen, king f5, knight g3. What about this game? Are we seeing a response by white? Oh, thank you, Karmic Student. He's saying that I didn't spoil anything. I still take the blame for not telling you guys that it was black to move. Let's see another game because I don't understand. I mean, have you guys left the tournament? We had 73 players starting the competition, the thematic tournament, and what I see is that most of the games have finished. Okay, I will focus on the games that are still going on. Rook f7, castle queenside. Doubling rooks on the f-file, on the open f-file is a great idea. Rook f1, swapping the rooks, b6, very solid. Takes, rook f1, so white wanted to exchange the heavy pieces on the f-file, and now he's bringing his king. That's a nice idea. Once you exchange the major pieces, you can, of course, bring the king to the center. So he wants to go, I believe, king e2, and then after taking on f7, he will want to exchange queens on the f-file and win this endgame with the knight on d5 and attacking the d6 backward pawn. Also, knight b5 is a great move in the future. So what happened was bishop g4. I don't understand it that much because after taking it, you can capture on g4. He sacrificed this pawn, I believe, for this check. But after knight e2, there are no more checks. So this is a pawn up for white. It's true that black has gained some activity, so maybe it's not so bad to give up this pawn if he can now activate his minor pieces. Just the queen on f2 will not win the game for you, so bringing the knight is a good idea. After queen g3, you should not exchange queens, of course, you are a pawn down. Queen f7, and I think black has actually found a way. By sacrificing material, he managed to activate his pieces. Next move can be knight e6 and then either knight f4 or knight d4. So I like that he was brave enough to give up this pawn and try to look for active counterplay. Knight f4 is not a good move, by the way, don't play it, that would be a blunder. The e5 pawn is pinned, so knight d4 is where you should be heading to, knight d4 now. The only problem is that the e7 bishop is still passive, so it's a question whether you can activate it somehow. Let's see another game. At the same time, I'll try to cover as many games as possible. Oh, did I click on this one? Cramming Student versus Zach. Rook f7 seems to be the most popular as black, doubling rooks on the f5, exchanging rooks on the f5. This is, it seems, am I checking the same? Am I checking the same game? Yeah, great. Great. Anna, you are great. This is great. How can I click on the same game twice? I mean, I should be just laughing at myself now. This is another game. I believe yeah, this is another game. I was like, I can't believe that everybody plays the same moves. It's just not possible, right? So, rooks were exchanged on the f file and a6, trying to play b5. But if you exchange rooks, then this b5 is not so strong anymore. Remember that if you want to attack the king, in this case trying to push b5 to open the a file, to open the b file, you need more pieces to bring to the queen side to attack the king on c1. Knight d5, great move. And now b5. Well, my bad, it's still actually a quite strong move, b5. The only thing is that you will not be able to take back the pawn, so this is a pawn sacrifice because you cannot take this pawn on b5, the e7 bishop would be hanging. And this means that you have just created a passed pawn for your opponent. c4, protecting the passed pawn, beautiful knight on d5, this position is great for white. Knight e6, and now king g7. Of course, white should still find the best moves. It's a pawn up, protected passed pawn, monster knight on d5, but also the black knight has been activated. It's heading to d4, so still plenty of things to play for, and white is short on time, getting short on time. What else is going on? Let's see this one. I hope that I'm not clicking on the same game again. Minus Bear versus Duke Crusher, and this is a knight and rook endgame. Somehow it seems that all of you with the black pieces give up a pawn for activity. Now the problem is that white's pieces are still a lot more active. The rook, the king, the knight, and this passed pawn on e5 is horrible. It's great that black at least has this blockade on e6, so you can't push e6, but after knight f4, preparing e6, then the king can also come closer, king d5, or after e6, king e5. Just make sure that you don't blunder mate, as it happened before. So, rook d4 check, and after king e5, there is no mate. In this case, it's not like the other game, and white is threatening not e7, rook f7 check first. Rook d1, still fighting. Rook f7, and I would take then on b7. Or you can also go king f6. I wonder what will he play. Rook takes b7 is perhaps the easiest, threatening e7. And he goes for it. Trollfjord Paddler is saying that it's a bit strange to start with a position you didn't play right from the beginning. True, but we are practicing the middle game here, so if you want to start all your games from the very beginning, from zero, then you should play the thematic tournaments about openings. You like the Grunfeld, then play the Grunfeld thematic tournament. I think I might be joined by somebody, a very young champion. She's a Spanish chess player, and I hope that she will join me. She's called Valentina, and she's only 9 years old. Valentina, would you like to join me? Yeah, I don't know if we have another chair, but we can fit on this chair, the two of us. Yeah, she's visiting here. Look, Valentina, this is a game where white has just given check. What do you think about this position? ¿Qué te parece esta posición? ¿Va a ganar el blanco? Yes, white will play. White will win. Oh, but white has just dropped the piece. Look at that. Look here. Check. And then he had no way of protecting this knight and also not losing his rook. So he has just lost his knight. Ha perdido el caballo. ¿Qué te parece? pero afortunadamente aún tiene 7. So white is lucky that he still has this passed pawn e7, and he should be winning now because of e8 and e takes. Thank you for joining me, Valentina. So this has been Valentina. She's here in the Madrid studio of Chess24 training with David Martinez, the Spanish director of Chess24, who you know very well, El Dibis. His nickname. What happened here after e7, rook e1 checking d6, knight h7 check, and then he queen. So this is an exchange up that white should be able to win. Let's see some other games if somebody is still playing. Okay, I know that this is a game that I have already seen, and I'm clicking once on the same exchange up. This is the only game that's still going on, is it? Is that? No, there's another one. Chin79 versus Martin Eden. Oh, a queen endgame. And ooh, this will be the first game that black manages to win. Martin Eden playing with the black pieces. I will check later on how he managed to get out of this horrible position that is the starting position. Because positionally, black is really inferior in our starting position. Not lost. It's not completely lost, but it's quite a big disadvantage positionally speaking. So he will have another queen and he will win this game. After this game, I want to see how he did it. I want to see. So let's see. Okay, can I show it? No, I think I need to wait until the end. Oh, I want to see how he did it in the beginning. What? He lost? Why? He lost on time. I'm so sorry for you, Martin. You were the only one who was going to win with the black pieces, and even like this, it did not happen. You had 2 queens on the board. What happened, Martin? Queen a7, queen 1 to a7, and then queen b8, and you are winning. Oh my. I'm sorry for you, you lost on time. So I know it was not the lack of skills, it was just that you had no time on the clock. I want to see how Martin did it, so maybe you guys will be inspired and your next game you will play the way Martin did it, because he was winning from this bad position. He exchanged rooks on the f file and he went for this a6 b5 push. So this was the game where white is a pawn up, but black managed to activate his knight. He brings his king, he places the knight on d4. Remember that it's not only about the d5 outpost, but the d4 square for black can play the same role. So this is what he's doing, knight d4. This was taken, so now he has a passed pawn on d4. Good knight versus bad bishop. The knight on d5 is a monster, and the d8 bishop is a pretty sad piece that doesn't have any active options, no great diagonals, nothing to attack. But somehow he managed to, yeah, he activated the queen, which is of course always great if you can grab some pawns. And then he took on g5, yes. I think white was not focusing that much on black's counterplay, grabbing these kingside pawns and also winning the d2 queen. Yes, he's queening the b pawn, but he has just lost the queen on d2. So what happened later on, it's true that now white is a piece up, but this the d pawn, I can't see which pawn I'm talking about. The d pawn is very dangerous. So here, having this d passed pawn, I think black has good compensation for the piece. Hope you were inspired by this game and try to play like this as black. Let's see if there's anyone asking something about the games. If you have any ideas, thoughts, let me know in the chat. And round 3 has begun. Mladen Dvornic is playing against Yumi Yumelka. So let's see this game. Rook f4, castle queenside, rook g f8, and knight cd5. Yeah, the usual thing. So rook f3, it's great for black that he has the f file, but the knight on d5 is a beast. And I'm saying that because it's a piece that controls so many important squares on both flanks. So it's in the center. When you place a piece in the center, that's the best, because it can reach the king side and the queen side as well. It can control squares on both flanks and in the center too. So the d5 knight is a monster. Bishop d8. I think there are some construction works going on somewhere near. Hope that you don't hear it. I hope it's only me who hears these kind of stuffs. I hope that it's not disturbing much the show. Please let me know. I hope that it's not disturbing. Bishop d8, knight f6. Yeah, spring is coming and the constructions begin. Is it like that in every country, that once the bad weather is over, you see construction works everywhere? It took me like 40 minutes to get here because there was so much traffic because of the constructions. So yeah, great. I love the spring, but not when they close down some of the roads that you would need to use. What happened here? I'm complaining about constructions and something I miss on the board. Knight f6. Sacrificing a pawn in order to capture on e5 later on, so there's a pin on the d file. He wants to take bishop takes e5. It's a great idea, but what if knight takes, g takes, and bishop takes? Bishop takes f6 would protect the e5 pawn. Black instead went king h7. Mysterious to me. After bishop takes e5, now you're not in time to take on f6, because the d6 pawn is also hanging. So it's too late. Bishop c7 was played, but now after bishop d2, white is a pawn up, and white has managed to open the long diagonal. The king on h7 will not be safe. Knight takes, h takes, and e5. I like how white is playing Mladen. It can be seen that he is a FIDE master. He's really doing the best he can with the white pieces. e5, opening either the e5 or the d5, just grabbing this pawn on d6 basically, or e6. Even better. I like e6 more than grabbing the d6 pawn. Look at those connected pass pawns on e6 and f6. Wow. Rook f2, but he's not blundering. Mate in 1, rook d2. The rook takes, king takes, bishop a5 check. Maybe he was not expecting this, because now if you push c3, the f6 pawn will drop. So that's bad luck. Why did he not want to take with the queen? I'm wondering. Queen takes d2 would have been such a natural move, but it drops the e6 pawn. So yes, it looked beautiful to have those connected passed pawns, but rook f2 was perhaps a move that he underestimated, or in this case, you should go rook d3. You prevent mate on c2, and at the same time you are still defending your e6 and f6 pawns. I think this was the solution, and this should still be winning for white. After what happened in the game, I'm not sure. After dropping the pawn, is this still... Yes, so the f6 pawn will fall. Queen takes f6. I'm expecting an after e7, rook e8. Let me see the chat. Everybody is busy playing, so no one is writing to me at the moment. Oh, it's okay. I'm not alone. I'm joined by two cartoons, Miss Strategy and Miss Tactics. Yes, is it weird that I'm on the screen twice? I don't know. Tell me if that's weird. I just love this background. I think it's a funny cartoon. And now after queen takes f6, yes, we have dropped our connected pass pawns. Are there any other games still going on? Filipino Master versus Miktal. Wow, this has changed a lot. Rook f7, knight d5, rook gf8, rook d1 without castling. Surprising. I wouldn't have done this move unless the queens and the rook are off of the board, so maybe he wanted to win some time by not castling and then bring back his king to the center. But since there are so many pieces on the board, keeping your king in the center is not very safe. I would not recommend it. Bishop g4, rook d2, rook f3. Yes, it is black who is attacking now. Isn't that annoying? Oh, I don't like it. I mean, I know it's still not losing or anything, but black is really active. Rook f2, bishop f3. Look at that. I mean, he won the queen. There's nowhere to go with the white queen. King takes, bishop takes. So this is winning. This is just a queen up. White only has a rook for the queen. What happened later on? Let me just go through the moves. This should be completely winning. Oh, it's completely winning unless you give up free pieces. So free stuffs are good if you are at a charity, but in your games, giving up things for nothing is not recommended. Bishop h6, bishop takes. Now suddenly white has enough pieces. He has a rook and a bishop for the queen. Of course, black should still be winning, but not now, not anymore, not after knight takes d6 and blundering your rook as well. I'm sorry for you, Mikta, you were playing so great. Very active pieces, dominating the position, winning the queen, and here you are completely winning. So you showed us that it's possible to do well, especially if white doesn't castle. It's a good idea to castle, right? Don't leave your king on e1 with the white pieces, and don't blunder pieces, don't blunder mates. On the other hand, Filipino master, well done. Kudos to you for actually turning tables after having a queen down. So, lots of blunders in this game. I'm wondering if there's anybody else still playing. Alex Steven versus Minus Bear. Oh, this is a rook up for white. How did that happen? I would like to know. Don't tell me that it was rook f1, please. Rook f4, knight d5, rook takes e4, left to castle, rook f8, rook f1. I still see the rook. Yeah, I think I know what happened. Knight b5. He could have gone back to e4, but then I guess he was afraid of queen f3 or queen g2, but you can still take the h4 pawn, so if you go back, you're still not losing the rook. This could be a repetition of moves. And if there's another move, any queen move attacking the rook, you can grab the pawn on h4. So I know it feels like your rook is trapped, and it is trapped, you can't move it. But white has no pieces to attack it at the moment, unless he will want to repeat moves. But maybe Minus Bear wanted to play on, maybe he thought that this exchange sacrifice was good, because he has a pawn, and after c takes d4, he's attacking this knight. b5, he's playing very active, so I guess he did it on purpose. I guess he wanted to sacrifice, but it wasn't good, especially here. Queen d3 is a great move, double attack, the b5 pawn and the g6 pawn are hanging at the same time, so white is much better after this move and queen takes g6. Exchange up, and the h8 king is in huge danger. Whoa, look at this, after a takes b3, c3. Some creative play, trying to open the long diagonal. And yeah, the d6 pawn dropped, and then the e5 pawn. So suddenly it was not just an exchange up, but a rook up as well. Well done to Alex and Minus Bear. You played very original, placing your rook on f4 and then taking this e4 pawn. But I don't think you had to sacrifice it. So I think if you just repeat moves, in worst case it was a draw, but you are not losing this game. Let me see if there's any other game. Round 4. That's great. Which game shall we begin with? Notch 73 versus Trollfjord Paddler. And this is knight rook f4, knight e2. I'm a bit surprised by this move. I thought that we were heading to the d5 square. What if rook takes e4? You want to trap the rook. I guess you can. I guess that is his idea. So yeah, this is the first game when we will not have a knight on d5, at least not right now. Rook takes e4 was played, and what? Knight f4. I get the point that you cannot take this because of the pin. So if rook takes, why I cannot? Oh, sorry, it's black to move. I cannot analyze until he makes his actual move. If rook takes f4, queen takes f4, of course, but knight f4 is not threatening much. So I thought that his idea in this position, I thought that Naj wanted to play something like, actually what? Queen f3, rook takes h4, queen g2, rook takes h4. As we saw in the previous game, it is not so easy to trap this rook on e4. So what do you do? Oh well. I don't think that this will be the refutation of the position. Unfortunately, knight e2 and knight f4. Okay, next move, white can go queen f3. So maybe it's actually not bad, but bishop f5 will protect the rook. King d2. I have fate. And now knight takes, queen takes. I like black. I love black. Okay, not love, black. Yeah. I like black's position because we are a pawn up and I'm a greedy person. I see a pawn and I capture it. So if you are not losing the rook on e4, then it was worth it. It was worth the journey. Rook f4, rook takes e4, and that's it. I mean, you still need to play on, and your rook is kind of trapped on e4, but now we are threatening queen takes f4. I'm expecting rook f1. Oh, it was played already. Rook g f1. And what shall black do? I would love to bring the knight, but if knight e6, white has the option of knight takes h5, discovered attack. So yeah, maybe I was too excited about having a pawn up with black. And this is still good for white. I mean, it should be normally good, of course. White's pieces are more active. And if he can double on the f file, bringing the other rook as well. Yeah. So, after drinking some water, what I was going to say is that he can double rooks on the f file, or he could bring it to e1, but I don't want to swap this rook on e4. When you see a piece like this that's almost trapped, don't exchange it. Try to trap it, try to attack it, not exchange it. Knight d5. Well, the queen has to go back, queen e6 or queen d7, but then queen d7, rook f7 drops some material, probably rook g7, then rook f1, queen e6. And now the question is, knight f6. Well, I like it, but I like also that white cannot win the e4 rook at all. I mean, you always have rook g4 or rook takes h4, queen g4. When you are a pawn up, of course, you should try to exchange pieces, but now the d6 pawn will drop, so, well, queen f7, I would want to play as white, attacking the knight on f8, not allowing rook e7, not allowing rook e2 or queen e2, and then threatening rook takes d6. But the position is not clear at all with the king on d2. Who is attacking whose king in this position? What do you think about this position? Would you play it with the white pieces or with the black pieces? After queen g2, I guess you would say you want to play with the black pieces. What can white do now? King c3. Well, you have to, but it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel safe anymore. White is not losing material just yet, but after rook takes h4, it's a pawn and you threaten rook h3. The g5 pawn is also hanging, so yes, this position is absolutely great for black. Let's go to another game. I'd like to see, who shall I see? Sanya 26 versus Numbrillo. Oh, what happened here? So we will have a minor piece endgame where there's no outpost on d5 anymore. This is what I was trying to tell you not to do. Not that it's bad, but imagine this position with a knight on d5 and no bishop on d2, b2 in this case, sorry. So I would love that. I would love to have that outpost. This is a completely different pawn structure, so this could be on the topic of bishop versus knight endgames, but the position is pretty much closed. So I don't think that white has an advantage because of having the bishop here. You don't have open diagonals, so if you don't have open diagonals, the bishop is not better than the knight. You should try to open the position, of course. That's why he pushed c3. He wants b4. Next move could be b4 after bishop a3. He wants to take back with the bishop on b4. But black also played very well, bringing his king to defend the d6 pawn and b6, keeping the pawn structure intact, not opening any diagonals for the bishop. So this position is, I believe, equal. Of course, white can still play. He wants to play king c4, king b5, and somehow enter black's camp. But you can also maneuver your king to the queen side, king d8, king c7. Oh, he couldn't resist the temptation of not capturing. After bishop takes b4, I think he wants to play knight c5 check, but careful with the white king approaching. It might be good. It might be still good. Okay, c takes b4 is also possible. Now white still wants to bring his king to the queen side. King c4, king b5. but the knight on b8 will stop it. King b5 and then a5. I start not to like this. I think black shouldn't have taken on b4. It was safe to place the pawns on the way that he did. A pawn on c5, defended by the d6 pawn. Now I think white has chances of winning this endgame, but let's switch to another game because there are so many of you playing. Altria Doll versus Shadow Mate. And whoa, once again, black is super active. How do you guys do that? I mean, this is an inferior position. Supposed to be inferior, doubling rooks on the f file. Bishop d8, bringing the bishop to a5. This is a great idea. This is the first time I see this. And this is something that Piquet also tried to do in his game against Kasparov. So this maneuver, of course, is a very useful one, trying to go to a5 and take... Oh, I can't highlight, but imagine bishop a5 and bishop takes c3. You want to take that knight before it jumps to d5. The disadvantage of this is that, well, not in this case. White didn't do well. I don't think that bishop a3 is the right move. I think white should have played knight d5 immediately. So in this position, you should jump to d5, either with this knight or with the other one. No, I think this knight, because I don't want to allow bishop a5. So now when black goes bishop a5, he will be attacking just thin air. There's nothing you can capture. Look at this diagonal. There's nothing to attack, nothing to capture. So yes, it's a good try to place the bishop on a5, but if white realizes the threat, he could have played knight d5, and then bishop a5 is no big deal anymore. What happened in the game was that black really got active. Here also bishop a5 could be great, just pinning this knight on c3, queen c6, and after bishop c1. I really don't understand. White was playing very passive. Now bishop a5. Yeah, so this is when you don't have an outpost anymore, when you are forced to take back with the pawn, because this knight would have been... No, actually it is hanging. What's going on? Yeah, you want to attack the queen, but... So the problem is, yes, okay, I got it. The problem is that he wanted to take back with the rook, but then the knight is hanging. So this is what I was trying to explain, that the knight is in the air. You take back with the pawn in order to not lose your knight attacking the queen. But now look at the black pieces. The rooks on the f5, the bishop pinning the knight, and you don't have a d5 outpost anymore, and this d6 pawn is not weak anymore. So this is just a great position for black. He can also bring his queen from the king side, queen h3, and the last thing he will need to do, and then he will really have a brilliant position, is to activate the knight from h7. So what happened later on, let's just go through it very quickly. Very active heavy pieces, look at that, and now grabbing some pawns, and yeah, mate afterwards. So very well played by Shadow Mate. Altria Doll, I think you should have jumped to d5 earlier. So we are talking about the topic of good knight on d5, and you should jump to that square if you want to take advantage of this monster in the center. Jump to d5 and then enjoy your position of having such a powerful piece in the center on an outpost. What about the other games? And why I don't see the chat? I feel like I'm not receiving the messages, but it must be that I'm very clumsy. I think you guys are telling me stuffs. Of course, it was not updating. My chat was not updating. Okay, now I'm listening. Oh, Altriadal is saying that he missed the bishop a5 idea. Yes, it's true that if you don't know this idea, this maneuver, then it might surprise you. So I think by losing this game, or for you guys who are watching, by seeing this game, we have all learned the maneuver bishop d8, bishop a5, which can activate this very bad piece, because the e7 bishop is a passive piece, it's a sad piece. You should do something about it. Bishop d8, bishop a5 is a good idea. So good job for learning that. Sometimes it's from our losses that we learn the most, maybe all the time, because when you win you feel like, oh, what a brilliant game, I'm a genius. And when you lose, that's when you actually think, what did I do wrong? What can I improve? So I think it's necessary to lose games in order to progress in chess, and you should always try to learn from the games that you lose, also the games that you win, but then you are happier and maybe you don't want to analyze the mistakes. What about the other games? Zach versus Lord Schleife. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. A6. Well done. Somebody listening to me. White hasn't castled yet, but of course you don't want to keep the king on e1 as white, so you are actually going for this b5 idea, and bishop d8, connecting it to the bishop maneuver. So now we see some defensive ideas, trying to push b5, trying to go bishop d8, bishop a5 are two great ideas, besides doubling rooks on the f5. Knight e5, rook g7, rook f7 was played. Of course, as black, it's important that you keep the f5. You shouldn't give up that file. That's something that you have, so keep it. If you have an open file, try to double pieces or at least keep control of that open file. It's not easy to play this position, but I think you should still go for b5. Just try to create counterplay b5 and then you'll see what happens. But you should try to do something, not just be passive. Or knight f8 to bring the knight, but I was going to say something with the bishop too. You have nowhere to jump after knight f8 just yet. What about the other games? I say that Miktal is saying that this is a super idea, but what is a super idea? I missed what happened before in the conversation. Oh, the Kremlin student has won lots of games. Congratulations, but it seems that his opponents were not here. I don't know if I would be so happy for winning for Fate. If you want to practice, of course, it would be better that you have an opponent. Well, it's good for you if you are the leader, and Mikta has 5 out of 5. I know that he played his games. Some of his games I saw. I mean, those games... Maybe in the other ones, some of the players were missing. Yeah, actually, we can see the standings here. Alex Steven Rodriguez Rubio is leading. He's from Peru, and he has 5 out of 5. Ali Adli from Egypt has 4 out of 4. He's still playing. Bas van Doren from the Netherlands, 4 out of 5. Shadowmate, 4 out of 4. Mr. Pressure from Norway, 4 out of 5. Filipino Master, 3.5. Mladen Dvornic, 3.5. Neum Brio, 3.5. So these are the top standings for the moment. I think we have 1 or 2 more rounds. So don't worry if you don't have so many points. You can still score. And remember that the games that you play with the black pieces, it's not so likely that you will win. If you have managed to do well with the black pieces, you should be proud of yourself, because it's not an easy position to start with. What about this game? What's going on? So, b5 was played. Great stuff. Trying to do something on the queen side. But white was also smart, capturing back on c4 with the queen. So he played queen e2 in order to take back on c4 with the queen. Knight f8. Now the knight is coming. So this position... It is of course better for white, but black is fighting very well. He's exchanging rooks on the f-file. He's bringing the He's bringing the knight to f8, and then it can go to d7. Or if you move the bishop first, then it could go to e6 and then d4 or f4, knight d7. Next move could be knight b6. You want to exchange this knight on d5. That's why this knight, the white knight, is on e3, so that after bishop takes, knight takes can be played. But if black manages to bring one more piece, knight b6, there it is on the board. After knight takes, bishop takes, suddenly white cannot keep up the outpost. So black has managed to kill this monster on d5 after knight takes. White will have to take back with the pawn either immediately or the next move. The problem there will be that the bishop is still bad, of course, but it's not as bad as before, so I think black did very well. Getting rid of the outpost on d5, now the backward d6 pawn is not the backward d6 pawn anymore, it's just the d6 pawn. And this bishop, it has some life, bishop a5 check. So it's not so desperate, suddenly this bishop has some perspective. I like that black has fought very well. Bishop a5 I would play, and then queen f8. I think you should try to get the f5 for the queen. What about the other games? Let's see. I would like to see some people that I haven't talked about yet, but my memory is horrible, so that's why I'm repeating the same games. Chess Chipmunk versus Minus Bear. Minus Bear I have seen before, but not Chess Chipmunk. And I know that Chess Chipmunk played previous thematic tournaments of mine. So great to see you back, Chess Chipmunk from India. Oh, he's suffering because he's a pawn down in the bishop endgame. How did that happen? Because we are here to learn about the middle game, not that much about the endgame. What was going on? Bishop d8. Castle, a6, I like that. So b5. This is what we learned. You should try to be active as black. Knight f6, knight takes, pawn takes, and queen g5. Yeah, it's getting really hot in here. And after queen g5, queen h6 is still not mate. You have queen h7, but I would start to be worried about the black king. King h7. And knight f5, oh look at that! Brilliant idea. It cannot be taken because of queen takes h5 mate. Beautiful idea spotted by Chess Chipmunk. Knight f5 threatening queen h6 mate. Woo! So bishop takes had to be played. And after e takes, queen f7. It feels like this should be very good for white, but it's not winning on the spot. And maybe that's the reason why he ended up having a pawn down. Because yeah, this was all fine. He didn't want to take here and then take on b5 because then he would drop the f6 pawn. But I think he could have allowed that. Or is it what happened later? Let's see the game. Takes, took on b5, and then he dropped the f6 pawn. He was trying to force black take on g5 so that his pawn would be protected. But of course, black can take on f6 first. And this is the endgame they are playing. The h4 pawn was lost. This is how he lost the pawn. What's the position now? Okay. After bishop f4 you don't have a blockade anymore. This is winning for black. And he still has lots of time too. So Minus Bear, well played. Very well played, creating counterplay by playing b5. Why I cannot pronounce words today? b5. b5 is a great idea. When you have a position strategically lost, you have weaknesses in your pawn structure, go for dynamic play. This is the point of b5. You want to open files and try to attack the c1 king, or at least try to create a weakness, a weak pawn for white as well. You need a target. You need to have some chances, and that means that you also need something to attack. b5 therefore is a good move, and exchanging pieces and such. Here, I thought that white was winning. Knight f5 looks just like the winning move that should finish the game, but bishop takes f5 is a good defending resource. And in this position, how can you hang on to the pawn? Was there a way to do that? Maybe not. Maybe this f6 pawn will always drop, even if you get the b5 pawn. What happened in the other games? And also, let me update my chat because I don't see what you guys are saying. And that's annoying. So, waiting for pairings. I have some time to read the chat. Let's see. Okay. Sanya26 is asking if I think that in general playing Blitz makes you a better player. I do believe it. But you should be smart when you play Blitz. So I don't think that playing Blitz non-stop will make you a better player. I think it will make you a better player if you play some games and then you check your games and you try to learn from those games. So it's great to practice openings, great to practice middle games. This is what we are doing right now. But also reflect on those games. If you don't reflect, I don't think that you learn much from them. I believe that the way to learn from something is that you try to reflect. You try to reflect on what you did well and what you did not do so well. Try to improve from your mistakes. So Blitz is great for practicing, but you should also, even if it's just a Blitz game, go through it very quickly. Just the critical moments. You don't have to analyze your Blitz games in depth, but see where you go wrong, if there's a pattern, what positions you are not so sure of, what positions make you uncomfortable, what openings cause you problems, and so on and so on. Those you can learn from Blitz games. And also, for instance, if you learn a new opening, you have just watched Peter Swidler's video series on the Grunfeld, then you should practice the Grunfeld by playing it each and every time you are black against d4 in Blitz games. You don't go to a tournament, in a classical tournament, and for the first time in your life you play the Grunfeld without having ever practiced it. That's just not a really good idea. So it's much better to practice those stuffs, new things, in Blitz games, and then turn up at an actual tournament, a classical tournament. You will be ready for the challenge. You will know a lot more about that opening, about these middle game positions, and so on and so on. So, of course, I believe that Blitz games are great, but be smart. Don't just play non-stop and never think back what happened in the games. Ambitious Pony is saying that he loves the chess commentary, very exciting. Thank you. Sanyal is saying thanks and a good advice. I'm glad if I can help. I'm here to give you tips on how can you improve your chess. So any other questions you have about chess improvement and so on, if these positions or in general, let me know in the chat now on Chess24. We are waiting for the 6th round. No, it's already going. Let's see. I'm so slow. I mean, yeah, round 6. Rooks have been swapped on the f5. Now the queens are off of the board. Let's see what this position is without heavy pieces. What do you think? The knight is heading to d5, and now you take back with the knight. This is what we learned. Place a piece on d5, not a pawn. Bishop d8, bishop c3. He prevented bishop a5. I like that. Actually, you think about, okay, bishop d8, maybe he will go bishop a5. Not that it would have been the end of the world, but why not prevent it if you can prevent it? Knight f8, bishop d2, knight e6. I like how black actually did this knight maneuver. Knight f8, knight e6. Next move can be knight d4 and knight f4. Not knight f4 right now. Of course, it will blunder a pawn, but in general, those are the squares where you want to jump to. What about, yeah, this is the position they're playing now. I mean, let's stop for a moment. Good knight versus bad bishop. Why is it a good knight? Because it has an outpost in the center. Why is it a bad bishop? Because the pawn structure tells you that this is a bad bishop. It doesn't have much mobility. It's true that the white pawns on the king side are on dark squares. So if this bishop could make it to g3, suddenly it would be a very strong bishop capturing these pawns. But it's unlikely that you can do that because you have a pawn on d6. So even if you could go bishop c7, there's a pawn that is in your way. And remember, the beast on d5, not allowing bishop e7, not allowing bishop c7. So good knight versus bad bishop. Let's see what they did afterwards, because this is a great example for having a good knight versus a poor bishop. I like that white managed to use the d5 square not only for his knight, so he placed the knight on f4 attacking the g6 pawn, and he then activated his own king marching to d5. Then he can go to c6. So this was very well played by Blitz and Amy from Germany. King c6, well done. And after d5, knight takes, bishop g3. So black has managed to activate his bishop. Now this is getting more exciting, maybe too exciting. Oh so yes, you are a piece up, but black has some pawns. This is going to be a race. I think white is winning the race because he got back with the king, so that was smart. But it's not as simple. Okay, if you can block them, of course, then it's fine. After king g5, knight e3. This is good stuff. Now white is winning. Perhaps he was winning all the time, but you should always calculate when suddenly you see an h pawn running. So here in this position, you know that black will give up his bishop for the e pawn, but he wants to promote the h pawn. And the question is always whether you get back with your king, the white king, because just the knight would not stop the two connected passed pawns. So it's good stuff that Blitz and Amy immediately started running with his king, and that's the reason he could block these pawns and then win it with the knight. Only the knight wouldn't have stopped those pawns. Well done. Pablo Panda is saying that Duke beat Troll. Look at the game, Anna. Really strange plan. So, wow, let's see. I'm curious. Duke versus Troll. Let me find you guys. Duke versus Troll. Where are you? Duke versus Troll. Got it. So, wow, what a beautiful finishing touch. Knight f6. I love it, but how did you get it? Rook f4, played by Troll, and King d2, doubling rooks, exchanging rooks on the f5, but not yet. Knight d5. How did it go so wrong? I mean, black is solid. He's worse, but he's solid. I'm curious. So this is all normal. I think that black was playing well up until this moment for sure. And when your opponent plays bishop a5, I know that this is because white wanted to enter black's camp. He cannot, because the f file, the only open file, is controlled by the black queen. So that's why white goes bishop a5. But on the other hand, you should be happy as black that you get rid of this poor piece, the d8 bishop. After bishop takes, queen takes. Yes, white is threatening queen d8, but if you can prevent it. Why did he not prevent it? Bishop takes was played, knight takes. And knight f8, why don't you prevent it? Wait a second, I'm missing something. If queen e8, queen c7, still very unpleasant. Yeah, now I get it. So actually, this is much more unpleasant than I expected. Queen d8 is in the air and queen c7 as well. So it's not easy at all to react. Knight f8 was played, therefore, and after queen d8, yeah, queen d7 was a huge blunder. Stepping into the knight f6 fork, you should have played queen e6, but even then, it just feels like with the queen on d8 and this knight jumping around, knight f6, king g7. Yeah, in worst case, white wins the d6 pawn, so either knight e8 or you can play queen takes d6 and then knight e8. So this would have been a winning pawn endgame. Now I'm even dropping the b7 pawn for black. Maybe I shouldn't have gone king f7. Yeah, the question is whether after queen takes d6, black has time to activate his queen. Sometimes it's a great idea to think about perpetual check. Not sometimes, every time. Whenever you are in a worse position, think about tricks, counterplays, and perpetual check. Because you want the draw, you want to achieve a draw no matter what. But I don't think that black is in time after queen e7. This is mate. So white was winning. And this bishop a5 turns out to be very powerful. That means that in this position, actually bishop takes a5 shouldn't be the best move. You probably had to play queen f8, and after bishop takes, queen takes, you at least prevent the queen a5, queen c7, or queen e8. And yes, you are giving up the f file, but then you can go back to the f file and offer an exchange of queens. What a game! What a game! I loved it, and many of you played so many creative games. Is the tournament over? Let me see. I think we have a last round. Round 7 will be the last round. Alex Steven Rodriguez is still leading with 6 out of 6. 100% for Alex from Peru. Shout out to you. Minus Bear is on 5 out of 6, as well as Sheen79, as well as Shadow Mate, Mr. Pressure, Duke Crusher, and Vladimir Kramny. So wow, so many players at the very top of the standings. 73 players in total, so it's a huge tournament. And even if you are not at the top of the standings, even if you're in the middle or even at the bottom, well, these are the players who I think had to leave. They couldn't play all the rounds, so they played a few games. Even a few games is better than nothing. So I appreciate that you participated in some of the rounds. And here, all these players from the middle up to the very top of the standings, you guys are still here. You will play now the last round, the 7th round. Aldapa is asking if I'm using Stockfish to analyze my games. I thought you were asking if I'm using Stockfish to analyze these games. I don't have time to turn the engine on. Everything is happening too quickly. Yes, my games I do analyze with the engine. I don't know if I would say Stockfish. I also use Rybka, I also use Houdini. I'm not an engine expert, so I don't really know which one is better. I honestly don't know. I have all of them installed, and yes, sometimes I'm told I should use Rybka, sometimes I'm told I should use Houdini or Stockfish. I honestly have no idea which one is better. If you guys know it, let me know. For me, they are very similar, and all of these engines are much better than we are. Sad, but it's true. Any engine nowadays is stronger than anybody. So yeah, it's a good idea to analyze your games with the engine. And what you can do, for instance, is that you go through the game very quick. So you only pay attention to the moments when the engine jumps. This is what happens also on chess 24 when you see the thermometer. Here we don't have it, but when you follow super tournaments of chess 24, you see the thermometer jump, and that means that somebody made a mistake. So in your own games, use the engine first to detect the critical moments where somebody went wrong. And that's where you should, if it was your mistake, see why you made that mistake, what was wrong with your thought process. If it's your opponent who made the mistake and you didn't realize, try to think why his move was wrong and what you should have done. So the engine is a detector, just like the thermometer on chess 24 is a great way to see when there's something. It shouts at you. It's like, look at that, something's happening. Round 7, I think, has just started. Let's see. Fichtelswerk versus Halimu. Oh, Kramik Student says that it looks like a bad day for me. I didn't get to play much. Oh, that's a pity, Kramik Student. I hope that next time your opponents will not disappear. I hope that you are still enjoying the show and you are learning from something. I wanted to say that you're learning something from the games that you are actually seeing. Sometimes my mouth is faster than my brain. I don't know if that's possible, but I feel like I speak too much and I speak too quickly. So this is a position without the queens, both the knight on d5 and on d4 it has just been eliminated. Once again we will see a good knight versus a bad bishop. But the rook on g4 is very active, so this is not just a minor piece endgame. This is about rooks as well, and black has activated this rook, which is a great progress. This guy attacking the e4 pawn, attacking the h4 pawn, actually makes white's position not as good as it could be. Now what do? You should go rook e2, but then it means that both of the white rooks will be passive. So bad news, bad news. That means something that we can learn from this position is that even if you have a monster knight, the d5 knight, it doesn't mean that it will win the game for you. You also need the rest of your pieces, the rest of your army to be participating as actively as possible. So this is what he's doing. He wants to activate the rook by playing rook f2. He realized that after rook e2, black could have played rook e8, still attacking the pawn, and black would have won a pawn. So I like the idea of creating counterplay, trying to go rook f7. Now rook f1 should be considered. I think that's the best move. Grabbing the f-file, threatening rook f7. Yes, you are losing the e4 and the h4 pawns. Oh, okay, maybe I was wrong. Maybe rook f4 is better. Maybe Fichtelswerk is actually right and not me. So his move is good because you're not losing the pawns, but I'm still worried. What happens if it's taken and then rook e8? You still have to play passive by playing rook e8, rook e1, sorry, rook e8, rook e1. I don't know. I think I would have preferred doubling rooks and rook f7, but maybe I'm giving too much up. Both e4 and h4 were hanging. And this is complicated, but I like that black has plenty of counterplay because of this e4 weak pawn. So good job by Halimu creating counterplay in an inferior position. What happens between Filipino master and Altria Doll? Ooh! Exchange up for white. How did that happen? Takes. Pawn takes. Okay. Yeah. I get it. The e4 pawn would have been hanging, but I'm just surprised that you go knight d5 immediately. But I could have played just castle, if not, if you are afraid of losing the pawn. So he played knight d5, and then he took with the pawn, but the pawn will still drop. I'm not sure that I like how white played, but somehow he will end up winning an exchange, so let's see how. Ooh, knight takes e5. What if it's captured? Queen takes. Brilliant idea! And queen g7 mate, so black has to give back the piece by placing something on f6. Brilliant thought. Look at this position. It feels like black is having everything under control. He has just captured a second pawn, so he's material up, and it feels like black is fine. And suddenly, out of nowhere, knight takes e5, opening the long diagonal, and the king on h8 is about to be mated. So woo, this was a very powerful idea. I also missed, so you should not be sleeping like I was. I was like, okay, I just take the pawns and that's it. Knight takes e5 and you are in trouble. Ooh, look at that. And here he did not take first, but he played rook f1, and yeah, rook e4 was a blunder. So this is how he ends up being an exchange down. Very, very well played by Filipino master, this knight takes e5 idea. That means that black should have seen this, and instead of rook takes h4, you should either move away the king from the diagonal. Yeah, either that or that. Queen f5 maybe also, but in general you should be careful about that long diagonal. Very well played by Filipino master. What about the other games? Alex Steven Rodriguez Rubio from Peru is our tournament champion. He has scored 7 out of 7. Congratulations, Alex. Wow, 7 out of 7. That's huge. Who will be second? I see Minus Bear. He's on 6 points. Duke Crusher is also on 6. Mr. Pressure also scored 6. So you guys are shared second. Well done. And is there any other game still going on? Let me see very quickly. No, I think there are no more games. Wow, so this means, as I said before, that we have a tournament winner with 100% score. Congratulations, Alex, and also congratulations to the players on the podium. Minus Bear from Argentina, Duke Crusher from England, and Mr. Pressure from Norway. And congratulations to everybody who has participated, because it's not only about winning, it's about practicing what we have learned together. Our topic was the good knight, and this is what we were learning about: how to take advantage of a beast on d5. So that was this knight on d5, or a potential knight on d5. Not in this game, actually I should go to another game where in this game we saw the brilliant idea of knight takes e5, but perhaps in another game. Let's see, Mr. Pressure. What? I was like, he gave mate in 6 moves from the starting position. Rook f7, knight b5, castle, and he's threatening queen takes, not queen takes, but bishop takes c5. I was going to say because of the pin. Oh my. Rook takes d6, how powerful. Cannot be taken because of bishop takes c5, winning the queen. Rook e8, and now queen takes. And queen h8. Very well played by Mr. Pressure. Let's see also the last game of the champion. Alex, where are you? Can I find you? Alex, one with the black pieces? Wow, I think that should be counted as a double point if you manage to win with the black pieces. What happened? It's a rook. It's a whole rook. How did you win a rook? Rook f4, castle, doubling rooks on the f file. Oh no, I was like bishop takes, and perhaps he took back with the knight. I always say that you should take back with the knight, and maybe he lost the rook because of what I said. But it's not true. He took back with the pawn, and after rook takes e4, rook takes f8, bishop takes, rook f1, bishop g7, rook f3. Where did it go wrong? It doesn't look that bad. Okay, now I understand. You should not blunder your rook in one move. I'm sorry about Chin 79, but rook f7. Ouch. I understand why he resigned. Oh, he's saying that he was sleeping. Yeah, it happens sometimes. We have played 7 rounds, so playing for an hour and a half is not easy. I know that happens, but I hope that you guys had fun playing these games. Congratulations once again to everybody who participated. I hope that you learned something from my commentary. If not, bad luck. I was trying to give my best advice to you guys. What can you improve in your games? I hope that I followed everybody that's listening to me. I was really trying to click on everybody's name, every player who I see on the list, but 73 players started this thematic tournament, so it wasn't easy for me to know who are the people I have talked about already and who are the ones I should still mention. I was trying my best. I hope that you see that. I was really hoping that nobody will be disappointed and everybody gets a mention. Next week I will be back with the usual Middlegame show. We will learn about something new and something that we can practice later on in another thematic tournament. Let me know in the comments here in here in the chat of Chess24 or on YouTube whether you like this format, the thematic tournament, whether you like to see it more often, less often. Any comments about the thematic tournament? Also make sure that sooner or later you become premium, because normally this is a premium feature, the thematic tournament. It's not every day that you get one of us here on Chess24 to commentate on your games. So yes, we have banned the Blitz many times, but this is an actual tournament where I'm just an outsider. I'm a commentator talking about the games of you guys. So this is why it is normally a premium feature, and I hope that it will encourage you to become premium this month or next month so that you can participate in more thematic tournaments with my live commentary, giving you tips and advice. As I said, I'll be back next week, but make sure that you are here tomorrow as well, and the day after tomorrow Banter Blitz with Look Fun Valley, and the day after Tactics Test with this wonderful lady in a green blouse, Sopika Guramishvili. Have a great week, guys, and once again, congratulations to everybody. It has been a pleasure to commentate on your games.